And those who come in late or aren't able to attend can listen in at a later time. But hi everyone, I'm Abigail Blinn. I work with Rogue Valley Farm to School, but have been doing some statewide support on the Farm to CNP grant. And I'm here with Amy Lehrman. Do you want to introduce yourself quick if people don't know you?
Hello, I'm Amy Larman, and I am with ODE working on the Farm to CMP team.
Thanks. We wanted to put together this information session for the Farm to Child Nutrition Program Competitive Grant. There's a bit of changes this year, so we wanted to get some information out there and answer any questions that you all might have. We're joined here with a few of our regional hubs, so they might be in your respective area. Mute you, Rhonda, sorry. And can also be of support if that's necessary today. But I'm going to share my screen and just go over the competitive grant process. And then we'll have an opportunity for questions. But I guess, are there any questions right off the bat before we jump in? Or anything you definitely want to get answered? Cool. All right. I'm going to share my screen. 1 second, sorry. Okay. I'm going to start us off at the Farm to CNP main page, just so you know where to go. And I will put this link in the chat so you can follow along if you want to. If you click on the Farm to CNP page, there are the 4 grants here, but we're going to focus on the Farm to CNP Competitive Reimbursement Grant. And this grant is a part of the Farm to CNP program and is intended to provide additional funding on top of the non-competitive reimbursement grant. These funds are from reallocation of those that have opted out or have not spent, their non-competitive grants. You are not able to apply or be eligible for the competitive reimbursement grant until you have spent down your non-competitive grant funds. But you must be same eligibility requirements of being a school district or a center-based program for the child and adult care food program, or providing meals through the summer food service program. So I'll go over a bit of the timeline. So the grant process opened and is live as of May 20th, 2024. Applications are due on a rolling basis from now until the end of the biennium. I'll show you the request for applications for those dates specifically, but they're on a monthly basis. And this is where all your materials are needed for the application. The submissions portal is where you'll put in all of your information or submit your information. But we'll go over the RFA, the addendum, and the application itself, as well as some of the attachments. So I'm going to new share. Can everybody see the pages document, the RFA? Okay, cool. Thank you. So I won't go over the entire RFA, but just some important pieces here. First thing of note are the deadlines for each application process. You'll have a opportunity to ask questions and request clarifications for any submissions that are due on these dates, and then the following dates for whenever the application period closes are as follows. The next due date for applications is July 15th in a few days, but if you aren't able to get everything together by that deadline, August 15th is the following one. So it's important to, yeah, keep these a note, and you'll hear within those dates as well. The application has changed a little bit, so there's an addendum to a few of these things, but this is your potential award amount based on your net non-competitive grant award. So for example, if you receive 10,000 for your non-competitive grant award amount, the maximum you can apply for is 50,000, and the base award amount is 12,500. And all of the amounts are based on preference points within your application. So it has, you'll need this for the application itself, which there's a little guide in there as well. And this was amended, so I'll show you the changes there. And then the other important piece are the application preference points, so I'll explain those a little bit more. Sorry for all the scrolling. So the priority area. So in the application, you'll choose one or two priority areas for your school district or meal program. And the priority area 1 is purchasing from new or diverse producers. This means you'll receive preference points or the applicants will receive those for those that demonstrate a plan to purchase from new or beginning farmers and ranches, which is identified as a farmer ranch within 10 years or less, and a minority-owned business, women-owned business, businesses owned by service disabled veterans, or emerging small businesses, food businesses. Priority area 2 is all about school food culture. So you'll have preference points awarded based on whether or not you're promoting culturally appropriate meals or age appropriate meals, and having these like reflect the families that you serve and the population in your school that you serve. The healthy food production practices, that priority area awards points for working with food businesses with sustainable growing practices, whether it's organic, salmon safe. I'm not sure that there's like a complete list of different certifications, but have those certifications or demonstrate or certified like worker safety or fair labor practices. Priority area 4 is expanding local product diversity. Preference points are awarded for expanding purchases of those that are historically low in school sales, which include unprocessed products like produce, whole grains, beef, pork, eggs, seafood, and legumes. This is one that I've been encouraging for the schools in Southern Oregon because beef is a common and easy thing for schools to buy. But that might be appropriate or not for your school. And then priority area 5 is the hyperlocal direct purchases. So this is priority points given to applicants that are purchasing from local markets or food hubs in Oregon within 100 miles of your site. So you're choosing one or two of these to focus on in your application. And your regional hubs or OSU extension or people that you've already purchased from can kind of help you identify maybe what their growing practices are, where they're located, what they're growing, or whether or not they identify as a new or beginning farmer or things like that. So be in touch with the current producers that you work with or your regional hubs to help kind of figure these things out, because sometimes they're not as obvious, or you might not know if they identify in certain ways. These are the preference points, or how they're being calculated. So that's on there. And I think that's the last thing I wanted to point out in the RFA. Yes. Any questions on the preference points or grant amounts so far.
I have a question, Abigail. So with the, let's see, with the preference points, since that's where you are at, do they have to pick like 2 or 3 or 1? What's the,
Two at most, but you can pick one or two.
okay, and is there an advantage to doing one or the other?
Um, I believe you'll get more preference points the more you choose.
Gotcha, but only 2 max.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
like you're reviewed based on like what you choose as your priority areas, which all are like equally reviewed upon, but like choosing one or two. Which
Gotcha, okay. And
yeah.
then on the maximum, so a district can choose to, I mean, do they just apply and they might get their maximum and they might not? Or is it like a strategic, like, if our maximum is 10,000, we're gonna ask for 5 now, we're gonna ask for 5 in 6 months?
They can apply for their maximum amount at any of the application processes. So like once if they apply and then spend that competitive grant award again, a grant award down,
Mhm.
they can reapply for that maximum amount. Yeah, okay, Amy should.
But is there a reason, I mean, um, is there a reason to do that? Because, I mean, it would seem like if you would just, if, you know, unless you like paperwork, you would just apply for the maximum. The
Oh yeah,
first,
yeah, I mean, apply for the maximum, see what you get, and then once you spend that down, you can apply. But it's really just based on who's applying around the same time, what the funding is available, and like how that's redistributed. But I don't know, Amy, would you say like most people do apply for like the maximum amount? Yeah.
uh-huh. And so if they don't get the maximum amount, they can come back and ask until they've accumulated the maximum amount.
No, the maximum amount is per round.
Oh, it's per round. Oh,
Yeah.
that's terrific.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
thank you.
sorry.
Yeah.
And then, so it behooves them to do it earlier because, and ideally, you all would run out of money at some point. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I may have misspoke. I think like regardless of one or two priority points, you'll get the same amount of points for or like possible points per like question, regardless if you how many you choose priority areas
Yeah,
that you.
it's just that one can bolster the other, so like if you're only gonna get the like maximum amount of priority points, but throughout the application, if you're choosing two priority areas and one explanation might be under and the other one might bolster to get you to the max points, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. Any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna move on to the application. Oh wait, sorry, the amendment really quick. Um, So this is based on or like reallocating preference points and maximum additional funds. Um, Not super necessary and knowing what to apply for, but just so you know, that is one change there. I'm gonna show the application and kind of walk through that process as well. Um, so we hope that this new application is easier for folks to fill out, but it's not like that different from the previous one. Um, but your initial spot is for contact information, eligible entity information. Here you'll need to know your non-competitive grant amount awarded, that initial grant that was awarded, and if you need that number, we can access it pretty easily. And you'll need that as well for the amount that you're requesting and what tier you're in, and whether or not you are in a zero balance for your non-competitive reimbursement grants. Let us know if you don't know any of that stuff because we can access that easily.
Abigail, I have a question. Why is that part of the application process, if that's something that you guys have,
The maximum award amount.
and whether we're at zero?
The grant is awarded to like schools and sites that are showing that they're spending it down successfully. So my understanding is why they require that like zero balance to like show that you're able to spend it down.
Yeah, I guess because you just said if you don't know it, you can check in. But is it that the folks that are reviewing it don't know that information, so we have to provide it?
Hey, Whitney. Yeah, so because ODE procurement deals with all the applications, then that removes a step for them. So if they have that information immediately,
Okay,
then they don't have to find the information. So that they deal with all of the applications, so they
Gotcha.
don't come directly to our team.
Gotcha. I have a random question. And I'm not sure if you guys know the answer to this. The most recent award was not sent to me, like I was not notified. It went to our grant, like a district level fiscal person. So I had no idea that we received it, and they're trying to figure stuff out. Is that a new process that it's not going to the person that submitted to let them know?
No. It would have been whoever is listed. Well, it should have been whoever is listed in on the when you filled out the smart sheet. Whoever the
Yeah.
grant manager was. And are you talking about the EGMS notification of your award? Are you talking can we sidebar this?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah. I was curious if it was a system process change or if this is a weird Whitney Portland thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that it's just you for right now. And
Okay.
we'll sidebar that.
No problem. I'm used to that.
Oh, good questions all around. Yeah, so I'll have to have that information. And then this first part is asking, or second part is asking about your purchasing goals. This is not for any points, but give us a better understanding of where people are with their spending amounts and goals. So you'll state whether or not you have purchasing goals, what percentage that might be, and how you're planning to reach that goal. Or if not, what support would you might need to establish realistic goals for your program by 2032. And you'll also go into what strategies you plan to use to achieve your goal. These don't need to be like super lengthy responses, but just give us a good idea of where you're at with spending and what you're wanting to see. Some of the strategies you can use are, reaching out to your TA providers, your regional hubs and OSU Extension, and it also notes whether or not you're looking to secure funding for the infrastructure and equipment grants, or if you're looking to dedicate staff time for local procurement, and others that might not fall under that list. And again, like asking like what help might you need to achieve your goals, whether it's better support in measuring or tracking spending, or connecting to local farms or whatever might fall under that. So like I said, no points are added to these responses, but it gives us a better sense of where school sites are at. And part 2 of the application is more that priority area. So like it says, select only 1 or 2. We already went over those, but you'll share a bit about the priority area you selected. And like Amy said, like there's a lot that kind of feed into one another. So 1 or 2 of those to help bolster those questions. Ask about what producers you'd be purchasing from. This can also be referenced from the attachment C, an optional list of farms if you have that, or I'll show you that later. But sometimes your regional hubs can also provide you with the list of farms that they work with or that you could potentially be connected with. Any menu plans that you have related to your priority areas, how you're looking to engage youth and adults into making those menu decisions, whether that be through a survey or input sessions or whatever you might do to receive input from your community. And then share a little bit about your purchasing methods and how you're working with local producers, whether that's through working with them directly or through a broadline distributor. And tell us about the local products you're planning to purchase. And all those are like in reference to those priority areas. And then also how you're promoting farmers or fishers. This could be through the organ harvest to school materials or other materials that you use to promote and educate about the local food that you're serving. And also fun stuff like social media or inviting farms to the cafeteria, whatever you might be doing. And yeah, question 7 asks about matching funds, preference points, whether or not you're bolstering your farm to school funds with other funding that you have is you get points for that. And then signatures and a scoring rubric. So like I said, you don't have to have like super lengthy responses here, but just a good sense of how you plan to utilize products and your purchasing methods and how they relate to your priority areas. Questions on those? We'll share the attachment C producer list. This is something that I like to fill out for my schools, which all regional hubs might not have the capacity to do that, but it can help track what producers you're purchasing from. And it has like these list of identifications that it's like hard to keep track of all the producers, so it can help you identify those for the application itself. And you can put whether you're currently working with them or you're looking to work with them in the future. And that's an optional attachment. Okay. Any questions on the application before I go through some resources? Okay. And any other context you'd like to share, maybe? Well, me and Amy are resources for you as you're going through this process and making sense of it. There's also everything with the competitive grant process follows the same claim process as the non-competitive grant process. So if you need familiarizing yourself with that, there's the walkthrough training webinar there linked. And as well as like the same resources as the non-competitive grant, like the claim form and seeing what different claim files from other schools, the organ harvest for schools directory to try to help you find producers, and those will often have those like identification pieces. Should have mentioned that before, for adding what producers you're looking to work with, or if you already are working for a producer that's in the directory, can help you reference some of those pieces. And also definitely encourage you to reach out to your regional procurement hubs They can help connect you with resources, promotional items, and farms themselves, as well as a bunch of different resources on the Oregon Farm to School and School Garden Network website. And then also references the allowable and unallowable items, which are the same as the non-competitive grant. I'm gonna stop the share and open it up for any questions or discussion.
So is there a limit to, so there's a limit, let's just say $10,000, that's for most of my people, per round. Is there a limit of rounds that they can apply?
Nope.
Till the money's out.
Awesome. I have
Quickly right now, we have like a very great procurement officer just like busting it out as soon, like our first round got out so quick comparatively. So, yeah, the sooner that they can get applications in, the better, because
awesome.
Yeah, is there any feedback from people who've applied in previous years to this year and like the changes, or are like, why is there a whole new application, or what?
It was a shift. I mean, just with the questions, and having previously applied, like I had a system down. I see where we were taking it, like with having to select a topic, which I think is nice because everyone has a different focus rather than having to cover everything. At an event yesterday at the Institute yesterday, some interesting conversation came up, and since you're asking, there was an ask from some of our partners to about making it less, if there's an opportunity for us to think a little bit differently, to be a little more inclusive of trying to recognize, while we know we need some deliverables on grants, if there's any opportunity to provide like a impact statement or a story or photos or something that is not written, just to, I think there was a lot of conversation around how it's hard to describe some of the impacts in a text or data driven way, that may have been observed or felt or shared. So if that's not, so I just wanted to share it here, because there was a lot of conversation around how written text is not necessarily the most equitable lens, and that if there's any opportunity for us to shift that, it would be really appreciated.
Yeah, heard. And agree, a lot of these things are like intangible or hard to describe in words, the impact. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Great. Well, I will put this recording on probably the Oregon Farm to School and School Garden Network's YouTube channel and send it out to that email chain, so people can reference and share with others that might need to hear about it, and appreciate everyone being here and asking good questions.
Awesome. Thanks.